Hey, my name is Lizzie Smiley, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. It's been a minute since we've done one of these, but I have cajoled my good friend Julie into coming back on the show to talk about social media, because if there's one big question I get from you guys a lot, it's what do I do with social media? Where do I focus? And what I worry about the most is you guys getting overwhelmed and burnt out, because after working with like thousands of Etsy sellers, that's what I see happen is it's like kind of hard enough figuring out product positioning and getting started on Etsy and perfecting your product and getting through that messy middle of when you're still not quite good enough and you got to push through. And then you're also trying to manage all of the social media. So when you are ready, when you are solid on Etsy and you know what you're doing, social media can add some massive fuel to the fire. And as you heard a few episodes ago, sometimes being able to push some traffic to your Etsy shop can actually stimulate the Etsy algorithm. So I know that there's instances when you guys want to dive into the social media, and Julie is the person I like to talk to about this, because like there's lots of social media experts out there, but they're not all experts in also selling on Etsy and selling a product like that. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of times social media experts are teaching you like, here are the great like reels to create or the carousels, and their content is just as much for the person who's trying to be an influencer or who's trying to just do affiliate sales or who's trying to just sell from their own website. It's a whole different method than someone who is selling a product, whether it's digital, print on demand, vintage, handmade. Julie started with an Etsy shop selling handmade wreaths, and she sold thousands of them. She was an extremely successful seller and moved into a digital space of teaching others how to do that. So she's the person I want us listening to, because she's going to understand how much work it takes building the Etsy, especially in the handmade space. And then she's going to help us wisely stack our social media skills on top of it. So super excited. We're going to have an amazing talk with you guys here. And then we're going to continue a conversation over in Scaling Society for some private training. I'm really, really excited to be kind of doing that again this month. But let me tell you about Julie. She's been on the podcast multiple times before. This is the second time in a week I've called her Judy, and I don't know why. Something is like happening subconsciously. I need to unpack that. But let me tell you about my good friend Julie. Julie Oxendine is a crafting content creator and business coach who's built a community over 2.3 million followers across her platforms. That's why we want to listen to her. She teaches creative projects that feel doable, even if you're convinced you're not that crafty. And she helps creative business owners grow with social media and online marketing. Julie went from stay-at-home mom to running a thriving business from home, and she's passionate about helping other creatives do the same. She's partnered with brands like Hobby Lobby, Amazon, Surebonder, and Cricut, and she loves showing you how to create with confidence and build income from what you already love doing. Okay, also, the brand like relationship she's built, that's another reason we need to listen to Julie. So we're going to dig into it today. We're going to talk all about social media tips for Etsy sellers specifically, give you some strategy. I'm so pumped about this conversation. Let's welcome Julie to the podcast. Julie, hey, welcome back to the podcast. My friend, it's been too long. Like we talk off of here, but where have you been? How you doing?
I know, we're doing good. You know what? I think it was probably over a year ago, but 2025 was a rough year for our family, as you know.
Yes.
If our viewers are just kind of catching on, and your listeners, I should say, almost a year ago, my son, who's 11 at the time, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And boy, did it change our world. And so it's been a really interesting year. It's been a hard year. I was so happy that 2026 came and 2025 left. And I'm really excited about what's going to be happening this year. And I just love that I get to be with you here today. I love doing this with you. You're one of my favorites. You know that. So
That feeling is very mutual. I will tell you what, too. I don't know a single person who's like, you know what, 2025 was a great year. Like, you, out of all my friends, won the cake. I worried about you. I should say I prayed for you more than anyone else because I couldn't imagine what my mental health would have been like trying to carry all the things and then what happened with your sweet boy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, I'm feeling very different about 2026. It feels like something has shifted. Thank
Hmm.
you, God, because
Yes.
we were all about to drown if it didn't. And not to say things are perfect
I
for any of us, but
no,
it's
I kind of feel the same way. I feel like a lot of people went through kind of a change and we're kind of coming out on the other end of that. And I think that for me with Crosby's disease and illness, it took us for a loop, of course. He was in intensive care, he was in DKA, which is very scary. And honestly, you don't know as a parent how dangerous that is. My child could have died. He was close to dying if we had not gotten him the medical attention that he needed. And we were in Florida, of all things, getting ready to go on a cruise. And the Lord really, if we had gotten on that cruise and not known that Crosby was diabetic, he probably would have died on the cruise.
oh my
And
gosh.
so thankful that we listened and we went to the doctor or we went to the emergency room and they took good care of our son. I mean, the people down there in Orlando took such good care of him and got us back to the point that they were like, go on your cruise. And we went on the cruise and it was hard because we were trying to learn all the carbs and everything. We did just fine. I think it was more difficult on us than it was Crosby because Crosby was having fun. And how do you tell your son, listen, we're not going to go on this 2-week cruise that you've been just dreaming about and wanting to go on? We're going to just go home. We're going to let diabetes win and we're just going to go home. We decided to keep going. And what's interesting when I shared that with my social media following, because we did it kind of like, it was a traumatic weekend when this all kind of happened. It started on a Monday, and then the following Sunday we were on a cruise. But in that time, he got diagnosed in the intensive care unit. They got him back to normal levels and everything, and then we went on a cruise. And then when I shared it, out of all the followers I have on Facebook, one person was negative. One,
Oh,
and
wow. And said you
everybody,
should have gone home.
yeah, they were like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done this," but that is just what is beautiful about the community that you build that
Yeah.
started as a business, but that community cares about my family and they want the best for my family. And it was just a very beautiful thing because I've been really surprised too with how many of my followers are either type 1 diabetics themselves or are there type 1 mamas or type 1 grandmas that have children with it who have reached out to me. And so it's just, I feel like that there's going to be some sort of, connection for us. I feel like I have this platform that I built for my business, but it's also a platform that I can use to help kids with type 1 and to help mom and dads with type 1, with children who have diabetes, because it was never something it's just an emotional journey that you never understood until you have to be on that journey. So, but
Oh my
2026
gosh.
is a new year and I
It's a
still
new
want
year.
in 2025, even though we were doing all this and going into 2026, I was much stronger because I can't do it all myself. And I've learned that it's so important to put the right people in the right places to help me in this journey. So I'm very thankful for that.
You know what, though? Even just that story, which I don't even know that we were planning on talking about, is such a testament to the layers of building a social media following. And I think a lot of times maybe we even focus on the negative. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Of the burden that it can be. But do you know, I think in a world where a lot of us feel really isolated, and I'm not saying social media replaces human relationships that are, tactile. It doesn't. But I
Mhm.
will tell you what, I feel like it can lend a lot of support. I think that that's one of the benefits is you
Well,
attract. This podcast has attracted the most wonderful people in my life I would have never known.
exactly.
They've
We
become
met on this
friends.
podcast. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like social media, and yes, don't get me wrong, social media has its downs. It's always going to have the downside of things, but it also will bring people together that never would have been brought together, whether that's a product that you have for sale that could be something that, number one, could change somebody's life because maybe it has health benefits to it, or maybe we were just talking about therapy and crafting, and how I see this trend of crafting goes multi-generational, and all these people are into crafts, and that helps them find find something to help them with their nervous system. Let's just be
Yeah.
honest, right?
Yeah.
And social media helps because people are discovering things they never knew existed before. And it's just really a neat thing, whether it's something that my mom did when I was a kid, they're doing it again. And, whether it be embroidery or it be knitting or sewing or anything, I'm just like, I love to see it. I love to see all the generations even come together and do it as well. And I think social media kind of brings that in too. I love seeing older people learn from younger people on social media and vice versa. It's just beautiful.
Have you seen those memes about how your grandma hobby is gonna like extend your life by accident?
Exactly. Exactly. But it's the truth.
Yeah.
I have my own little therapy crafting table over here in my studio. And I haven't really shared about it on social media because it's been my place to go at night and just kind of lose myself in creativity that I don't normally do. And whether that be a different, thing for somebody else, there's something very therapeutic about that. And it just calms you down. The stress leaves your body. You're not worried about all the different things in the day that we have to worry about. And I think that there's some really good things that come with that. And I feel like we need to explore that more as a society. So I just love it all. And don't get me wrong, social media can be too much at times, but it
Yep.
also can be a great tool as well if used correctly.
Well, gosh, and it wasn't accidental at all, but you've delighted me in how you've teed this whole thing up because, we're playing a lot with AI tools right now. It's not going anywhere. We all are only anticipating it taking over our lives more and more. But I think what that's going to mean is that space that you're talking about, the crafting space, the people getting in touch with the more tactile, the people they can do so much for themselves with the AI, but the visions that we can cast for them in terms of like their projects, their crafting. I think that handmade products are going to go through the roof. I think that crafting is going to only get bigger because A, we're going to need even more nervous system regulation, and B, it's going to be the contrast to the AI. I think when you can create experiences for people, because I think the overstimulation of the AI taking over, and even as people are even moving out of jobs and maybe a universal pay system, I don't think we'll be super poor, but I think we'll be super bored.
Yeah.
As a species. And so people who get really good at creating experiences for others, especially affordable ones, especially in crafting, we are set up to really thrive in a time when we could have otherwise been very different. So I would love to let's take this Etsy angle. What platforms are you seeing Etsy sellers tend to have the best success on? I get this question a lot, Julie, and I get really worried about people trying to do all of them and burning themselves out.
Yeah.
It's a concern to me. So tell us, if someone's really wanted to go that route, where do you want them focusing?
Okay, so this has been my mantra for years. Okay. When I started selling, my business is called Julie's Wreath Boutique. So obviously it was wreaths that I was making, but I started out selling wreaths just to kind of help with the groceries, help with the bills, just kind of give us a little bit of extra income because I was a stay-at-home mom and I had two older kids and then two littles. And, putting them in daycare and going and getting a regular job wasn't an option. It didn't make any sense to go work for $2 an hour after you pay for daycare, right? So, being able to stay at home with my kids and do something creative was what I needed. So, one of the things that I learned early on was that Pinterest drove more traffic over to Etsy than any of the other social media platforms. And I know that people are going to say, "Well, Pinterest isn't a social media platform." I disagree. Is it a search engine? Yes. Okay. That's a given. But where you can go You can make a site for yourself. You can save all the different posts that you love. You can make posts and send them out into the Pinterest world. People can comment. People can go visit the sites that you want them to visit, right? And that when they can comment and they can send me messages and they can communicate with me, that's a form of social media. Now, Pinterest is good because when you think of all the different platforms, you think of Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. How many of those platforms say, here's a link and go to another platform? None of them. None of them want you to go anywhere else. Pinterest encourages you to do that. Pinterest says, make a product. Okay. So you made a wreath and you make a pin. Now, what I am going to tell you is stop making a listing on Etsy and sending that Etsy listing over to Pinterest. You've got to be a little bit more creative here. You've got to play the game. It's all about aesthetics. And that's kind of like one of those things like, they put no effort into this, right?
Can I clarify that with you? Are you talking about where like you go to Pinterest and you click where you can add a pin, but you put in the link to your Etsy listing and then it automatically generates like basically your first thumbnail photo as the pin. And so it's too small and it's just not, is that what you're talking about? So you want us to go create our own pin, go into Canva, create a pin.
I think it's the dimensions are 1,000 by 1,500. So that's going to be like this. It's more of a rectangle.
Yeah.
It's almost similar to the new Instagram size, but I think it's a little bit longer. But that is what Pinterest prefers, that size. Okay. So when you go into Etsy, and I'm not saying not to do it. I mean, you can still do that, but go make a pin in addition to it. Don't just sit there on Etsy and say, okay, I shared it to Pinterest. I'm good. No, you need to go into Canva, make a pin, change the background, change the font, get people to either want to go purchase your product or maybe go find more information about your product, or maybe it's a digital file and you can encourage them and make this. I'll show you how. So one of the things that you need to do is when you make a fresh pin on Pinterest, it's going to be seen by the algorithm. Okay, this is fresh content. This isn't them just recycling old content over and over. Okay, they used to do that a few years ago and they've really kind of put the squash on that. And so basically, when I was selling wreaths years ago, and it's still the same way, I would say about 65% of my sales on Etsy came from Pinterest alone. And it's one of those things because once you pin that pin, it keeps going through the cycle and different people keep finding it and they are sharing it to their boards. And so it keeps like getting populated without you having to make a post 3 times a day on Facebook. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And it's also a great place to do that because Pinterest says it's okay if you send somebody off of our platform. It's okay. And Facebook doesn't like that. As soon as you put a Pinterest, if you go to Etsy and you also have the opportunity to take that Etsy listing and put it onto Facebook, it ain't going anywhere. Nobody's going to.
They're not pushing it out.
Yeah, you send it to die because Facebook doesn't want to send them off to another platform. They want you to keep them on Facebook. So Pinterest.
What about groups though? Are groups still really good on Facebook? Sorry, I totally just.
Well, yeah, they are. I just don't feel like people know enough about groups. Does that make sense? I feel like it's
more strategies necessary or people. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not. I used to have, or I probably still have a group, but honestly, I don't see much traction on it. I think if you wanted to do a group, I would focus on Facebook and do a group over there because that's where everybody kind of convenes as far as groups. But you can collaborate with other makers on the platforms. And also you need to be sharing, don't just share all of your stuff. Share other people's stuff as well. You know, that's really important to be kind of collaborative on Pinterest, and that'll help with the traction on your pins. I also want to add that Pinterest ads will give you a return on your investment far higher. For every $1, I think it's $1 you spend on Pinterest, you can get a $4 ROI.
Wow.
So, but you need to have that Pinterest ad longer than maybe you would do like a Facebook ad. I wouldn't do an ad for less than 30 days. So, you know, you might spend more, but you might see the reward for that over on Etsy. And so you got to kind of just take that all into consideration.
Okay. So Pinterest is And I also love that because there isn't as much of the engagement factor. I feel like you can schedule stuff. Is the scheduler good to use for reach?
Yes.
Okay.
We use, currently we use Tailwind. I've been using Tailwind for the last, I want to say 6 or 7 years. We are going to be changing to a different platform here, kind of with all of our systems with Julie's Wreath Boutique. So I don't know if I'm going to keep doing that. I don't feel like Tailwind has been as beneficial as it had been a few years ago.
Well, before Pinterest had its own scheduler. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
like that you can only do 2 weeks out, but
yeah, but if that's all you're doing, you can do that. So it's not like I feel like a few years ago you kind of had to do the Tailwind thing.
yep.
And because there wasn't a good scheduler, but now you can schedule things out. You can even schedule, I call them reels, but they're a Pinterest video pen. But yeah, I mean, anything that you put on Facebook, I would still put on Pinterest as well.
What kind of do videos do really well on Pinterest? Are they recommended or?
I feel videos did better a few years ago, but I still think that they're worth the time to do them. I don't feel like people save the video pens as much, but also generationally, I feel like the younger generation is watching those pens on Pinterest because mom and dad don't let them on TikTok or don't let them on Instagram.
Mm,
So there's something to kind of remember there too. But it's always a good thing to have, like if I make a pen for a tutorial that I did on YouTube, right? So it'll show the actual project that we're making, okay? So we do a static pen and then we always add the video pen with it as well. We don't
wow.
we don't do one or the other. We always do both. So I'm covering my bases. So now if let's say it's a Valentine's thing, okay, and we're going to be putting out our pens probably in December for Valentine's Day. We're already prepping that to go. You're going to keep doing it the next year too. You're going to just maybe change the background and change the font, change the title. I'm going to still use that same destination link for
Okay.
static pen and the video pen, but I'm going to re-upload it again. So
Huh.
I'm not going to do one and done with Pinterest, but I am going to maybe freshen it up. And that's what Pinterest really wants. They want you to take the pins that you have and keep refreshing them instead of just using the same graphic over and over. Maybe it's a different angle, maybe it's a different subject line, or title, I should say. But just kind of keep, changing it. And that's where AI is super helpful. Chat GPT, and you and I have talked about Claude, and there's Perplexity, and there's Gemini. There's so many things out there. And what I would really stress is use those to your advantage. Tell your AI, okay, this is what my pen is about. I made let's see, what did we just make? I made a magnolia wreath and I used poly burlap and I used acorns and I used a wire wreath form. And I kind of go through all the different things. I tell AI, okay, and you're going to say, bring me some SEO or keyword rich words that need to be relevant for that pen. And you probably have I know you and I are both so into the AI thing. You probably have your own little prompts and everything too. But when you use AI and it gets to know what you do and how you do it, it's going to understand when you say, okay, we did such and such. It's already going to know what it's kind of like about because you've told it a million times based on your product. But again, you don't have to rethink the wheel and take an hour to create a pen. You can create a pen in 15 minutes from the creation of your video pen on Canva or whatever site that you use. I love Canva, to the descriptions and the titles. I don't overthink it. I just go with it and boom, we're done. So,
Okay. Pinterest is great. I love that for you guys because it's not going to be as much of a time suck as some of the others.
yeah.
But before we started recording, Julie, you were saying so. Some of like the next one really shocked me. The one you said was number 2 for social media.
Number 2 is YouTube.
I literally can't believe that. And
No.
I bet there's jaws on the floor like they never would expect it. But I need you to demystify this because right now that they're thinking of a YouTuber, they're thinking of like, very different than a crafter, than someone who's selling a handmade product on Etsy. I think interestingly for YouTube, you could do that for print on demand and for video as well. But cast this vision for like, what does that mean? YouTube does really well for an Etsy shop.
Okay. So one of the things, we have been on YouTube since 2017. We have over 450,000 subscribers over there. We're pushing 33 million views. And honestly, I kind of feel like people they kind of think, well, if I show them what I'm making and how I make it, they won't want to buy from me. And
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that people get stuck in that way too much. And
They
I think that
totally do.
people just want to follow you because it's you that they make the connection with. Okay. So for instance, last night I'm doing an Amazon live. I go live on Amazon. Did you even know that? I don't
No.
It's like the only platform I really go live, and I teach how to craft and everything. And I'll get a ton of people. I have 20,000 followers over on Amazon. And these are people. And what's nice about Amazon Live is Amazon will literally text them for me, and I'll have 1,000 people watching me within minutes. And so one of these people, Antonia, she found me last night and she's like, I am so mesmerized by what you're doing, and they want to know more, and where can I find you, and all this stuff. And my point is, people love to watch the process. They love to see how your brain thinks and how you make something, but a lot of times they want to buy it because you made it.
Right.
Or they want something that Julie made. I mean, I still get emails every day. Can you make me a wreath for Valentine's Day? No, I can't. Nor do I want to. And I'm past that season, right? Because I have been able to scale my business in such a way that I don't have to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week making the same product, but yet I'm making more money now than when I was making a product. So my point is people love relationships and they love being able to find somebody. I mean, when people watch YouTube, I've had so many sweet little ladies say, oh, I love it when you come on every Sunday night. That's my favorite TV show. And to them, it's a TV show, guys. That's exactly what it is. And you don't need a million followers on YouTube to get that connection. Yes, is it work? Absolutely. But if you don't want to do a long video, you could be taking those short reels, you could be making shorts out of them, and then you could send them back to your YouTube page, and you have links underneath your bio there that they can go find your Etsy shop, right? Or you explain, hey, we were just talking about this. So I made this little notebook, okay? And I'm going to be teaching my viewers how to make a little notebook like this. So what could I do? Lizzie and I were talking about this beforehand. Could I sell kits? So YouTube gives you a free platform to show somebody, this is how you make it. Now buy my kit on Etsy. It's so easy. So I totally see that happening. People want to buy from people that they, number one, relate to. And if you're never putting any video content out there, it's really hard for people to relate to you, right? So me and you relate together because we can see each other, we can talk to each other, we have our Marco Polos that we can send back and forth to each other. It's like a little video walkie-talkie, but people want to relate to you. And that's where social media comes into play. And that's a lot of people will not go onto Facebook, but they'll go onto YouTube. They won't go to TikTok, but they'll go to YouTube. They feel like it's a safer platform because
Mm-hmm.
they're choosing what they watch. They're choosing who they follow, and they're not seeing all the junk in between. They're not seeing the political posts from Uncle Harold, you know what I mean? And the other stuff that's going on in the world that they're like, I'm so sick and tired of this. I just want to make
Yeah.
something. And, when our washer and dryer goes out, or my husband was fixing something in our hot water heater, he goes to YouTube instantly. He doesn't go to Facebook. He doesn't go to Pinterest. What man goes to Pinterest? I don't know. Maybe some do. He doesn't go to Instagram. He goes to YouTube. So YouTube is not only like one of the number one search engines, it's like number two after Google, I believe, but it is a place where you can develop that relationship and people trust you. And if they trust you, they're going to buy from you. And so they're going to say, oh, I can go to Etsy because I trust Etsy. It's a great way to get out in front of people. And I really want to tell you this is that I see in my own experience that people who have smaller channels on YouTube, I feel like they get better traction than I do. They just do.
I'm about 13,000 and I'm
Mhm.
still making at least like 600 a month from
That's
YouTube from the views.
yeah.
And it sends me a ton of traffic. Like YouTube alone probably made me somewhere between 30 and 40K last year on just
That's
sending
great.
me.
On
Yeah.
13,000 subscribers.
And that was more recent. Like I had some things kind of take off in the last month or two. So I mean, that was when I had like 8 or 9,000.
Right. And you have to realize that YouTube is like real estate. Once you put that video out there, it's out there.
Yep.
So people might say, oh, that was 5 years ago, but they're still watching it. And they're going down to your links in your description box and they're going to go purchase that item, right? But absolutely, YouTube is a great way to go.
You guys know I am constantly testing strategies and frameworks on Etsy so I can tell you what's actually working and what's just noise. And one thing I have noticed over the years is this. Most Etsy sellers aren't stuck because they're lazy or they're not doing anything. They're stuck because they're second guessing everything, what to work on, what matters right now, whether they're even on the right path. I hear this all the time. And that feels exhausting. So after years of teaching Etsy sellers through courses and workshops, the Trendspotting membership, coaching, and this podcast, I built something that brings everything together in one place. It's called Scaling Society. Scaling Society is my all-inclusive Etsy membership for sellers who want clarity and a clear plan without hopping between programs or wondering what to focus on next. Inside, you get my Etsy seller roadmap so you know exactly what to work on and when, with direction on what resources will help you master it. You also get every single one of my courses and my workshops. You get access to Trendspotting and the weekly trend reports, my template drop, which means a weekly template that you can resell in your own shop, SEO training, a bunch of done-for-you resources like prompts, SEO, and branding templates. You get a coaching group with real support, and that's where the magic happens. You also get access to 2 live coaching calls with me every single month. You'll also get automatic access to all of the new trainings and resources I have planned for this year, including special guests. It's designed to meet you right where you're at, whether you're brand new or you're ready to scale, and help you build intentionally instead of guessing your way forward. And honestly, the biggest feedback I hear from members isn't just about sales, it's relief. They finally know what to focus on. So if Etsy feels harder than it should, if you're putting in effort but you want more clarity and direction, or if you're ready to treat your shop like a real business and have actual support behind you from people who know what they're doing, you can learn more about Scaling Society at the link in the show notes. There's monthly and annual options, and you can cancel anytime, so just pick what's right for you. I'd love to support you inside. I'm still so excited about that. Okay, so we're gonna drill down on YouTube in the in my Scaling Society membership. It's gonna be like the private member podcast. We're gonna talk super strategy because I think it sounds incredible and I think the potential. I just had never thought of that. I think the potential is huge. I should have thought of that though because that's literally what you did with wreaths.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go into like the nitty gritty over there. What was the number 3 platform that you think is really good?
Facebook.
Okay, and this is where we should talk about Facebook groups for sure, right? I'm so curious about this.
Yeah, when I started on Facebook, it was probably about maybe a year and a half after I started my Facebook page. I started a Facebook group with some friends of mine who were also wreath makers, and that group grew really, really fast. One of the things that I did at that time when I started that group was I started putting out my first digital products. And back then, I've been doing this for 10 years. Cannot believe it's been that long. But about 8.5 years ago, I started coming up, previous to this, I had been coming up with some techniques that nobody was doing in the wreath world. Petal folds. I did a Christmas tree tutorial that is now copyrighted and all this stuff. So basically what I did is I came up with techniques and I'd be in these Facebook groups and people would be like, you've got to tell us how you did that. And I just like, nope, I don't have to tell you how I did this because I felt like I had so many people wanting to know how to do something that I feel like it was the Lord for me personally telling me, no, you do not have to tell them how you did that. You don't have to give everything away, right? Because enough people wanted to know how to do it. So I made a video. I had a dear friend said, Julie, you need to make a video and sell it. And 8.5 years, I'm like, make a video and sell it? She said, yes. It was the best decision I ever made because that's when I broke the wall or the ceiling, so to speak, of my hands could physically only make so many wreaths a year and ship them out and do all that. That was exhausting. There was a ceiling on the amount of money I could make with that unless I brought somebody in and then I had to pay them. When I added that digital product, I went from here to here instantly, because the people that bought the first one, every time I put out another one, they were an instant buy. It was an instant add to cart. And so back then, Facebook groups were really popular as well. And they're still popular. And Facebook is really pushing the whole community, because what does Facebook want? They want you to stay on their platform. So they really stress the community, probably a little bit more so a few years ago, but I feel like they're doing another resurgence of it. So that's where I would like really put all of my time and stuff in, as I'd be posting and, oh, you want to see how to make it? Buy this tutorial. And that's where, I made hundreds of thousands of dollars selling these tutorials. So it's just a really good way. It also kind of develops a community outside of your Facebook business page, of where people, like, if they love to do what you do, you can kind of share tips and tricks. I also have, you can even turn that into a paid group, like both me and you have. I have Julie's Biz Boutique, and I teach people, we do a lot of social media training over there, but I teach creatives like me how I started and where you can get to, right? And it's just a great way to do it. I would do a Facebook business page plus a Facebook group, and I would keep that Facebook group, I would keep it public. You are going to come up against a lot of spammers, so you're going to need to tighten up those settings for the admin side of things. Unless you're getting a paid group, then that needs to be private, of course. But that way, if you want to share links to whatever it is that you are selling, great. Leave the links in the comments. Don't put them in the post. But also, yeah, you don't want to put the links. Sometimes I get lazy and I put them in the post. But yeah, you want to train people, go to the comments.
Wow.
But you also need to be using automation. And that's a whole nother subject. If you are not automating on Facebook and Instagram, you're losing money. It's a way to get engagement, but it's also a way to get behind the Facebook algorithm and send them a link to wherever it is that you are selling or you want to take them to. For me, most cases, I want you to go watch this YouTube video, right? So it's just a way to get that into their inbox. Now, they don't have that for groups yet. I foresee that might become a reality eventually, but it's just really a wonderful tool. The other thing I wanted to kind of bring up here is that you can also, in a public group, you can also share affiliate links. Okay. And I feel like people kind of lose sight of, okay, I sell my products, I sell a digital product, but what about getting something back for all the supplies that you use? And people, you have that information. You go to Walmart for this, you go to Michael's for this, you go to Hobby Lobby for this, wherever it is that you're purchasing from, you need to make a commission off of that, because if you're not using affiliate links, you are giving Walmart free money. You're giving Michael's free money. You're giving Target or whatever free money. And it's just another way to kind of cash in on your hard work. I don't want to, for instance, okay, I'll just kind of leave it at this. Walmart slashed their commissions from December going into January. They had their commissions around 17% for their highest settings, because they wanted, whenever I share a shirt from Walmart, I make money from it, right? And then they said, okay, starting December 28th, after the holidays, we're slashing those commissions down to 0.089.
No.
Yeah, that's what they did. And so they basically took the month of January off, but yet I'm still getting the emails saying, hey, share this, share this. No, I'm not going to share it. You want to know why? Because you're not getting on my platform for free. You need to share that commission. So on February 1st, they gave us back our commissions. And companies will do that. They'll kind of go up and down.
Really? That's so
Yep.
slimy.
If you're not,
it's just not a good look.
yeah. If you're not familiar with an app called Mavely, that is an app everybody should be getting, because you do not need a huge following to get those affiliate links from Walmart, Home Depot, Target, Ulta. What are some?
Is it like a like to know, but it's a different brand?
Okay, think of it as a like to know, but easier.
Okay. How do you spell that?
Mavely, and I think it's .app. But I have the actual app on my phone, And I love it because I can keep track. You can make links really easy and you can keep track. It's like a little game in my mind. I can see what I'm making off of that glue gun or a shirt that I got
Huh.
from Walmart. And people, again, it's all about relationships. So yes, we need to send people to Etsy, right? But you're developing this relationship with social media. Why not make money on the things that you use daily, right? I mean, it that's the way that marketing works. You know, you get people to their platform, they need to give you a little kickback because you sent them there. So
Yeah. And
it's
people
just
are going to ask you anyway a lot of times.
now you do need to disclose it's your affiliate link. You know,
Sure.
you don't want to be slimy and be like, "Oh, this is not my affiliate link," when everybody knows it is. But that's where Facebook public groups, you need it to be public to share those links in those groups. Does that make sense?
No.
So if your group is private, I
Hmm.
guess more so Amazon than maybe Walmart. Amazon's a real stickler for this. If your group is private and you share an affiliate link in that group, you can lose your Amazon affiliates because
Oh,
it's not
wow.
a public space. So Amazon and a lot of these companies, if you're going to use an affiliate link, we need it in a public space so everybody can see it. So you don't want to be sending your friend my Amazon link, go buy something, you know, that sort of thing. That's kind of like slimy when you know somebody's going to make a purchase and you send it over the phone, you text message it, right? So it needs to be in a public forum, like a public group or on your Facebook business page. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Versus if it was a private group, it's not available for everybody. You're only saying it's available for a certain number of people and they want it to be above board.
So interesting. So my mind could go so many different like directions with that. I mean, I don't even have like an ethical debate, but I'm just like, you're like taking money away from Amazon. It's not like I'm taking money away from my friend.
Mm.
They'd probably rather I get a cut than
Yeah.
from Amazon. Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of weird. But then when I think about it, I'm an Amazon affiliate, and anytime I'm an Amazon and I'm going to send a friend a thing, I always say
Right. You
not
can't
the
share.
affiliate link. It feels weird to me to do that. So I don't know. It's just strange.
Yeah.
Okay, can I ask a different question?
Yeah.
What do you think about faceless accounts? Like people who are like thinking, okay, maybe one of these would be good. Now Pinterest just naturally kind of does that, but YouTube or Facebook, or if they were going to go look at Instagram, also I would love for you to talk them out of Instagram. Maybe, I don't know. I know that people go look up, the first place I look up a brand is on Instagram. So I get that for brand awareness. I just think it can be a soul suck, and it's the hardest platform in my opinion to build.
Agree. I
But
totally agree with you.
I think a lot of people, and let me just, I don't even know if there's no like wrong way to do all of this, guys. Like I always want you to never feel trapped. In my personal opinion, here's what I see. I work with thousands of Etsy sellers,
Mhm.
and there are certain things that burn them out. Social media is often one of them. So all I'm asking is get to like 500 sales first. Start building an email list and then start building your own brand if you want to. I just think that if you try to do all of it at once, you're going to quit right before you hit it because you've burnt yourself out. But I know a lot of people in this space, a lot of creatives sometimes feel like I know I ultimately need to scale to social media. That's the place I'm at. That's the step I'm at, but I really don't want to show my face. I'm not trying to become part of like the melee that is social media, which I really understand. Talk to us about that, Julie. Is it feasible to go faceless? What could that look like, or would you totally suggest against it? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it that's such a hard one.
I know.
But I understand the point of wanting to be faceless because I was faceless for probably 3 years.
Wow.
People didn't know what I looked like. They'd see my hands, but they didn't know what I looked like. They didn't, you know, my profile picture was always a wreath and my banner page on Facebook was always wreaths. And I didn't at the beginning didn't really feel like it was necessary to brand my content with me. I kind of did that a little bit later than I probably should have. I think that we see so many negative things happen on social media as well that it makes us a little scared. And I think that sometimes you kind of have to get out of your own way. Most people are not going to be mean to you. I think it's our own insecurities. I feel like if you show up in an authentic way, here's what I don't like when I see social media. And I know you spot it as well, and everybody else spots it, is when somebody gets on like TikTok or Instagram, because Instagram is very, everything needs to be aesthetic, right? And I feel like they get on there and they're acting like every other influencer on the page or on that platform. And it gets annoying. Like we're talking with their hands and we're like doing this and we're, you know, yeah, we're doing the thing, and I'm just like, did your mama raise you to be that way? Really? Because my mama
Is
didn't
that your
raise me
personality?
that way. Yeah. Is that really who you are? Because it looks like you're just trying to copy everybody in this aesthetic. And I am thinking of a creator that I have seen, and she comes in my For You feed on Instagram and TikTok. And she is the most inauthentic person I've ever seen. She's trying so hard to be somebody else, and people roast her in the comments because of it. So here's what I need to tell you. The first time I went on Facebook Live and I did a Facebook Live, I had never done one. I was ready to throw up before I started it. I just decided, okay, everybody's doing it. I need to do it. I just knew I needed to do it. And I went from having about 8,000 followers to about 18,000 followers in about 2 days time span, because I went live and people, Julie's live, and they were just sharing it all over social media. It was awful. It wasn't even the right aspect, right? And I was live and 1,700 people were watching me and people were sharing this and sharing this, just teaching you how to make a fabric wreath. It was not a big deal. But then I started doing it more and I got more relaxed. Was I showing my face? No. Was I showing my body? No. But it got me more relaxed. And you know what? People weren't as mean as I thought they were going to be. And then I started showing my face and people would be like, oh, a face with the hands. You're so pretty. And I'm not, or you're so this, or you're so that. And people are able to make a relationship. That is the core with social media. The fundamentals of a good social media platform is building a site that people want to come back to. Oh, I want to see what Julie posted today. What funny meme did she post today? What is she going to share with us in a reel or a TikTok on how to make whatever it is? Or in my case, how's her son doing? She has another reel about her son, right? And people are more willing to spend money with you when they can connect with you.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to put it out there like you need to show your face so people will buy your crap. Not saying that, right? I'm saying when people trust you and you're a genuine human being and you're not acting like 5 million other wannabe influencers out there, right? They love you because the way that you talk, or the way that you put something together, or the way that you might remind them of their grandmother or their sister or their mom that passed away, or the memories that they connect with. So I really feel like, yeah, you can do a faceless account. I think it's 10 times harder than doing one with your face. Now, the bigger my brand has grown, I have to put my face on stuff. My face is on my Pinterest pins. My face is on my YouTube. My face is on social media content, because everybody likes to copy the way I make a YouTube thumbnail or the way I do an Instagram post. And that's okay. What do they say? Imitation is the
highest form of flattery.
So yeah, that's okay. If I can inspire you, that makes my day. But when I put my face on it, their face doesn't look like me. And what I see, especially with people in my group, is they're starting to put their face on their stuff. And again, it's that connection. It's kind of hard to connect with a faceless profile and just static posts, and where people don't hear you talk or speak. I mean, like I said, show your hands, make something, show your process. If you don't want to show your face, that's okay. But give your voice. Your voice is who you are. Your craft is who you are. And adding your face into it, I think you'd be surprised how it's not as bad as you think it is. Mm-hmm.
I just want to tell people, like, if it's really not for you,
mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, you don't, there.
Exactly. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. People build empires without doing that. And it's just, it's all probably depending on the niche you pick. It's all depending on what you have to offer. I mean, if you have an amazing digital product that everybody wants, then great. But I think those are fewer and far between than if you put yourself out there and people want to make that connection.
It's the scaling piece. It's like, here's the thing. There's like levels of entrepreneurship that you need to grow through. There's nothing that says that you get to pick where you stop. Do you know what I mean? But a lot
Absolutely.
of us, if you're like me, I can't even envision where the top is right now. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm going to keep growing and changing and evolving and stacking skill and all of that. So I think, you start with the Etsy, you start keep it simple with the Pinterest, and then maybe you start with some faceless content, especially if you can do maker kind of things like your show.
Exactly.
I remember it was a few years ago now, but I'm sure it's still a huge thing. There was that Mrs. Dutchy on TikTok, and
She
she made tumblers
Yes.
and
People
she would
ate
make it in
up.
front of you. Like you got to watch her make, and she'd ask you questions about it. And like she'd be on there for hours and she made so much money because people only wanted a Mrs. Dutchy, whatever. I don't know if that was her name, Tumblr, because they got to that was crazy. And this lady, this was not a polished.
I know who you're talking about. No, but
This,
but the connection that she made was that personal connection. She made
and
a
she's
connection
good at
with
Tumblrs.
people who wanted to feel seen and heard and valued. And she
Mm-hmm.
wanted her customer to be happy, right there. I mean, how many times do you see reels where, oh, so and so just made an order, let's fill their order, and they'll share their
They're
comment.
so cute.
I know. So it's like, I mean, Facebook is coming up with AI profiles just to be your friends on Facebook. It's unreal.
I
People
don't
are
like that.
making friends with AI
They're
because,
marrying it, Julie. I mean,
yeah,
this is
I know. It's crazy. I mean, AI has its place and its usefulness, and there's some scary stuff about it too. I also want to, okay, I know I'm getting off the topic here. It's
I can't
driving
wait.
me nuts with the amount of crafting, and I'm talking about the crafting world, the crafting pictures that bloggers are coming up with and Pinterest pins that are totally AI. Now, not everybody is knowing that it's AI, but I can spot it 10 miles away and they're posting it on social media as if, make this wreath. I'm sorry, Susie, I can't make that wreath that perfect because there's no mesh that even exists that perfect. There's no ribbon that has absolutely no crease in it, and everything is placed in such a perfect way. And they're selling their blogs over on Pinterest and social media. And then they pop into my group with somebody saying, how do I make this wreath? I'm like, you don't make this wreath. I can give you the tools and a tutorial on how to make that wreath, but my wreath will never look as good as that wreath because it's AI. It's AI. And it's just like, okay, that's just false advertising in my book. And it gets me frustrated because you've got all these, the different generations play a role in here, but they think, oh, how can I do that? You can't do that. You can't make something so perfect like AI makes it, right? So that is like another soapbox that I have that is just kind of really frustrating with me, but yet use AI in an ethical way. Don't like take a product and make it up with AI and then sell them a version that they can never make from that. Does that make sense? Like in a
A
kid,
million percent.
something. Yeah. So I feel like there's dangers with that as well. But I know I just got off on a little
No,
tangent.
but I'm actually glad you said that because this is one of the reasons I entered the AI conversation. I'm actually usually very averse to, I'm like a slow adopter of technology typically. So this was an area I had to force myself to grow. But I knew this was going to get so unethical and so gross that I was just like, and I will tell you what, the only time I get hate on social media is when I talk about AI.
Yeah.
They're like, I thought you were a crafter, you were OG. I'm like, yes. And because I'm that, and because I am trusted for that, I want to be part of this conversation because it's here, whether
Yeah.
we like it or not. And it's going to eat us alive if we don't stay on top of it. So we
Yeah.
have to stay informed. You can't ignore hard conversations because you want them to go away.
Absolutely.
And so I love it. And I love talking about it because like that was something I didn't even realize was happening. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm so knee deep in the digital space right now. And we're always talking about if you're using AI to create, well, ephemera for scrapbookers or
Yeah.
PNGs or stickers or whatever it is, there's an ethical and an unethical way to do it. And I like to talk. So I'm actually thrilled you brought that up because it's just exposing another layer I didn't know about.
Well, and two, AI is a great tool. If you sit back and say, I am not having anything to do with AI, good luck in growing your business.
Right. Yeah.
Because
Unfortunately.
this is growing in such a rapid pace that if you don't know how AI works and use it to your benefit, I mean, make tasks easier than they need to be, right?
Right.
Our kids grow up in such a different world with AI, versus when we were kids and all we have is encyclopedias and going to the library and getting the little note cards. I don't know if you're as old as me, but
Yeah, no, I mean, like the Game Boy was as techy as we got.
but I just think it's like use it with discernment. Anything we do, we need to use discernment. But I'm not going to be all against it. I'm not like black or white. I'm like, okay, I use it for this and I use it for that. But yeah, I'm not going to use it to
To make
pretend
pictures of your wreath.
I just made this on YouTube. Here's the picture. And that's not what I made. My hands did not make that product. Now, can I take ideas and say, I can make that? Will it look as perfect? No, but I can tell you how to make something like that. So, like for instance, I was on AI the other day, me and you were talking about a digital product that I'm trying to come up with and to bring together. And AI is great, kind of like telling you the tools. Okay, this is how you do it on Canva. These are the apps that'll be really helpful. This is, what you need to do. Those are the kind of things that I'm doing. And one of those things was, have you ever done, one of the ideas was, have you ever printed on tissue paper? The tissue paper we put in gifts?
Yes.
One of the things that I've done the last couple of years is Mod Podge napkins onto like surfaces. And it's just a really cool tool. But when you use like the white tissue paper and you print something on it, you can print it on your printer. And so it brought a whole new idea I had never heard of. And honestly, I'm not seeing it on social media. I'm like, oh, that's another idea for me to show people how to craft, how to create over in Canva, maybe the design you wish you could have instead of trying to hunt all the home goods in your area for a certain napkin. So then you could have it. You can make
Wow.
your own and then have the design on a little dish or a little sign or a little ornament, instead of spending a bunch of money. And this is a way to do it over on Etsy too, is okay, people want these ornaments with a chinoiserie theme. I love chinoiserie. Did I say that right? I don't know.
Chinoiserie. It's pretty close.
So I kept seeing all these different online vendors who were selling them. And I'm like, I don't want to pay $12 for one ornament. So I figured it out and I use these napkins, but now I can print whatever I want to print. And it will make the process a little bit faster. But yeah, there's so many things that you can use AI to help you get to your end goal, which is whether it's a digital product or how to achieve the look you want, and where it tells you how to make that happen digitally or crafting wise, or maybe different mediums as in paint and textiles that you didn't know of before. And it may help you find those on the internet. So it's a great tool.
Okay, we are going to go continue this conversation behind the scenes over in Scaling Society. We're going to dig into YouTube strategy because that is a whole new one. Before we do that, tell us how tell them about your membership, Julie, because some of them really could dig into more of this social media and would really benefit from being in there with you.
I love what we have built in Julie's Biz Boutique. We've been around since I want to say 2022. Yeah, it'll be 4 years here in about a month. But basically, I wanted to bring a different approach to all these online business coaches, right? And they're telling you how to do all the different things business wise. And yes, we go through that. We go through emails, we go through, automations like mini chat and different things like that. We cover those things. But one of the reasons that all my members are in this group is Julie has built over all my platforms. I have over 2.3 million followers. So they want to know, how did you build those platforms? How did you, make it so that your income is the main income in your family? How do we do that? And what I like to do, like for instance, tomorrow, our training is what's trending in social media. So every few months we go and I go through each platform and I say, okay, if you're not doing this right now, you need to start doing this. And if you're doing this right now, you need to stop doing this. And so we go through each platform, we go through Etsy, we go through all of the different things. Now, if you need help with Etsy, you stick with Lizzie.
Yeah.
If you need help with social media, if you want to know how, Julie, how did you get brand deals, sponsorships? How do you do the affiliate link things? How do you do all the social media posting? How do you do all that? Those are all things that I've done personally myself. Do I have a team now? Absolutely. But I still know how to do it and I teach you how to do it. So we do 4 monthly meetings and membership is $47 a month. You also get access to all of the last 4 years trainings. Now we've redone some of those trainings because, you got to redo the Facebook and the Pinterest and the YouTube to kind of go with the current times. But yeah, that's what we do. We have a great community on Facebook and I just love to see my people succeed. I've got one lady who started with no YouTube platform, social media. I think she had a little bit, but she just passed 100,000 followers on Facebook. She's over 40,000 subscribers on YouTube and she started it all just a couple years ago. Started in Julie's Biz Boutique. So I'm so proud of her. Her name is Holly Hobbies if you want to check her
So
out
cute.
on YouTube. But yeah, that's what we do. And I would love to have anybody who loves you. I think they'll love me. Let's be honest.
Oh, I think so. Yeah. And we just have a very different expertise. You know what I mean? Like I am going to show you how to get the baseline going on Etsy. I'm going to show you how to scale that Etsy shop, all of that. But I don't have any content in right now about social media. That's not something I talk about. I'm in Julie's Biz Boutique for that reason. So I think when people are at that point of scaling and need to learn, I want them to go to you for sure. They're going to learn it ethically. They're going to learn it very detailed, very click by click. You're keeping it really simple and understandable. It doesn't feel over people's heads. I really like that.
Yeah.
And then you're everywhere. Where should people connect with you or follow you?
Okay. Julie's Wreath Boutique. That's the name everywhere. JuliesWreathBoutique.com, Julie's Wreath Boutique on Facebook, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Pinterest. It's the same name and it doesn't change. So I'm easy to find, to be sure.
Okay. Thank you so much, Julie. This was amazing. I'm excited we get to keep chatting. And everybody, thank you for listening in. I hope you're excited. I think this was we totally didn't even go through the things I talked about, but this was so meaty and helpful. And I think a good groundwork. Okay. So we'll see a lot of you guys over in Scaling Society to continue the conversation. For everyone else, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I hope you feel like you're walking away with really good, tangible ideas and advice. And until next week, go make something awesome. We love you guys.
Bye.
And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.